Ramones, Ramones. Hola Johnny, hola Joey, hola Didi, Ramones. Gracias. Can you hear him, Joey? Can you hear him, Didi?
We'll see how it goes.
I'm trying. A 2 anni fa, il 15 settembre, morì un uomo che era un mio amico ed era una leggenda. Il suo nome era Johnny Ramone. Ho parlato con sua moglie la scorsa notte. Lei mi ha chiesto di salutare i fans italiani dai Ramones. Suoniamo questa canzone per Johnny. If I keep holding out, will the light shine through under this broken roof? It's only rain that I feel. I've been wishing out the days. Oh, come back. I have been planning out all that I say to you since you slipped away. Oh, know that I still remain true. I've been wishing out the days we said if you hadn't gone now, I wouldn't have lost you another way from wherever you are. Oh, come back. And the days they linger on, yeah. And in the night what I'm waiting for, Lord, there's a real possibility that I may meet you in my dreams. I go to stay if I don't fall apart. Will my memory stay clear? So you had to go. Oh, and I dare to remain here. But the strangest thing today, so far in this, you feel so close. And I'm not gonna question it any other way. There must be an open door for you, oh, to come back.
is Rock and Roll Radio. Stay tuned for more rock and roll.
I met Ed first on a secret island in Hawaii. I guess he saw me playing at a funeral party. I didn't know who he was or how big a star he was. I just took him for a person. And so we was friends for about 6 months. Never talked music because I knew he wanted his privacy. And I respect him for it. It's one thing that's another. I kind of just fell into the whole thing, and I'm blessed, you know. I'm so blessed. I'm so happy.
You know, we've been coming here for, I don't know, I guess at least 12 years now. And 12 years, and it still isn't lost on us how gratified we are to come here and have this many people show up in 3 nights. We appreciate it deeply. And it's incredible. In 12 years, I don't know about you, but I know for me and for us, like, incredible things have happened. Incredible things up here, and things we never thought we'd have to go through down here, but it's just life. It just keeps going. And then here we are today in one moment together, and we made it. Because I faced it, a life wasted. I'm never going back again. Haven't tasted a life wasted. I'm never going back again. Oh, I raced it, a life wasted. I'm never going back again. Wow. It's a melody, it's a sound, and that's part of my homework. Is like, what does that sound mean? What is? Okay, this is a chord change. This is a melody. Like, okay, but what does that mean? What is it? Where am I? If I close my eyes, where am I? If there's a person or if there's an aspect of life in this song, what is it? So it's finding the mood of it and saying, well, what fits in that? And then you put down the closest meaning you can get to it, and maybe it starts one place and it ends up in another, or maybe you might write it 10 times, you know, before you realize you should have just went with the first one. I think the less you think about it, the better. It's like you just grab something and go, and you can try to write a song and you can write it, and it's like bricklaying. And I think a lot of those middle records, I was like bricklaying. It was like homework, and you did this, and every once in a while you'd reach for the dictionary. You know, it's good. It's a good job, hard working. You know, felt like you were working. But if you're more like a conduit, and if you
somehow, if you feel something tapping into you, and mind you, I'm not tapping into it. Sometimes things just tap into you, then you just let it go. This is Roger's mic. A lot of photos I got. This is the night this is me and Joe Strummer. And that's the night I met Jack Irons, which is the night that kind of ended up here, because without meeting Jack, I would have never met Jack and Stone and all that kind of stuff.
So you met Jack at a Strummer
He
show?
he was playing, Joe Strummer had a record called Earthquake Weather, and Jack was the drummer. And he was the only one who showed up for sound check. I was working crew at a little club called the Bacchanal in San Diego.
I know it well.
Right next to Tools R Us and the AM PM or something. That was at the end of the night, and that's me and Joe.
It's a pivotal night right there.
It all kind of comes down to that night. It's terrifying. No book stuff, you know, it's all the set lists, and that's what it looks like these days, you know. No books, toothbrushes, certain pens that you trust.
Can I see a set list?
Let's see what we got. Oh, and this is after they get printed up nice. See, I write them like this,
Oh, great.
and then they get
Wow.
redone.
So this is after a band meeting where you discuss this, or is this you doing your own edit?
Yeah, we all kind of, it gets democratic at some point, but I don't know if everyone agreed. But yeah, kind of write it up and let everybody make sure. You know, it's a long conversation. I don't know if you want.
We'll have it later.
Yeah.
Or a tiny bit now.
Yeah. Well, sound check, you try to do all the things that might be strange. So this would be all really strange songs to play. And then this, you have to kind of get to where it's normal. And then you figure it out, and it all becomes the thing.
So based on sound check, you might drop in an extra song or two that sounded good that you tried out.
Right, yeah. Well, yeah, we'll try a few, and then sometimes you can't put all of them in. And sometimes you can't put all of them in because they're too strange for people to grasp, you know. Just because we play bigger places, I had a talk with somebody about this recently, Ian MacKay from Fugazi. I think the smaller places, the smaller the place you play, you can get away with a lot more. That's one thing about Neil. I don't think Neil gives a shit. Either way. And I hate that I do. Because I think it keeps us from progressing sometimes. But I think that with that amount of people, you got to think there's a lot of people, and they're on the lawn, and they're on, you know, whatever. You kind of keep them interested, you know.
But you've also said to an audience, do you want Black, Red, and Yellow tonight, or do you want the stuff you know? Like
Yeah.
you've actually presented the audience with the choice.
Yeah, and I could not hear the answer in any kind of comprehensible way. It was like,
So
why
play hits?
Do what you want to do. Yeah, I know.
Sandy, Sandy, I love you every day. Sandy.
We got this in Kentucky, Louisville. On a day off, we went to a junk shop, antique store, or whatever. This thing had literally an inch of dust on it. We bought this, a few records, went back, Eric Johnson, Keith Wismar, and I, and we had just the best hotel room party. Like throwing footballs onto the beds. It was a small room.
All right.
It still lives to this day. And I also bought a fake leg, like a prosthetic leg.
At the junk shop?
Yeah, at some point you're gonna be sick of my stories because I got time.
No.
But we bought
Impossible.
a fake, like a, you know, prosthetic leg, and it still had like an earth shoe and a stocking and a sock on it. And that ended up, we created a fake replica of myself at the time. Oh, I also bought a couple football helmets, Bengals helmets at that place. So we did this thing where we made a fake body with, we had some Doc Martens on, and that we even drew the tattoo on the, I'll get a tattoo. We put it on the prosthetic leg and did the whole thing. And it was at the Fox Theater in Atlanta a couple days later.
Oh man.
And then I went up to the rafters and the light rig, and I was singing the porch and whatever, and then we did, and it was up there, the body was up there with the matching helmet, the army jacket, everything that I'd worn. And then we were doing it, and then we're playing, and then the audience is there, a small place, and then I dumped the body off the thing. I was kind of behind some stuff, and I dumped the body off the thing, thinking that there would be a huge Evel Knievel reaction of like, no. You know, yeah, he slipped, you know, fell and the whole thing, and I was watching, I could see the whole audience, so I did it, and I was waiting for the reaction, and I swear to God to this day, there was like one guy in the second row who was like, and no one else ever was, like, no one saw it. Like, it was so funny, like one guy saw it. It wasn't the reaction I was expecting.
The alternative porch.
I mean, what if it really would have happened?
Well, you know, now you know what it would have been like.
So start in Missoula, head straight east, Highway 200, wind up around here. Actually, this is Lincoln right now. We head into Great Falls, Lewis and Clark Country, and right there, Big Sandy. That's where I grew up. 18 years. You know, my connection to the outside world was a handful of magazines. It kind of made me realize that there were kids all over the country that were doing the same shit that I was doing. And I remember having a cassette tape that I would take on basketball trips that had Never Mind the Bullocks on one side and Highway to Hell on the other side, and that was just the tape that we all fucking got pumped up to play the game or whatever, you know. And it was funny because I got all these guys that were even older than me, like, pumped up on the Sex Pistols, and they had no idea, you know. They had no idea what they looked like or that they were punk rock. They just kind of thought that sounded like AC/DC, so it sounded exactly the way that we felt, like hormones raging, you know, like you felt it, but you didn't know what it was. I mean, for 4 or 5 years when I first started playing bass, like Dee Dee was the be-all. He fucking wrote all the lyrics on those first 3 records. Like all the classic Ramones songs, it's all Dee Dee. And so that was a cool thing too, like, you know, the bass player didn't just have to be the guy that just kind of mimicked what the guitar player was playing, like he could actually be a force in the band. And this is the shot right here. This is the yield shot right here. I kept thinking about how it'd be cool if there was a yield sign that there was nothing to yield to. I immediately visualized the spot, and that ended up being the Yield album cover. The first time I came back to Montana, after the first Pearl Jam record, I remember we had like 10 days off, and I had somehow reconnected with an old friend of mine. And I came out, we went to Flathead, and we went up to Glacier, and we took a bunch of hikes, and I remember going back on tour, and I think I went straight from Missoula to Europe. And I just remember everybody else in the band was just beaten still. And I remember feeling like I'm onto something, like getting away from what was going on in Seattle at that time sort of gave me an energy that I kind of needed to get through it. And coming back to this, or just an open space where I could breathe and kind of clear my mind was huge in me surviving it all. We opened up for Keith Richards on New Year's Eve, and when Keith made that first solo record, and I was hanging out with these friends of mine from New York who, you know, they were kind of part of the rock kind of art scene in New York, and they were looking down and they're like, yeah, see that down there? That's Mark Jacobs and Anna Sui hanging out down there in the front row. I was like, Mark Jacobs, the dude that's fucking selling like the grunge corduroy jackets? And they're like, yeah. And all of a sudden, you know, like we're having some beers, it's New Year's Eve, and we're having fun. And this girl that I knew, Christina, goes, I'll give you $1 if you go up and bust Mark Jacobs' balls right now. So I fucking went down, and I was like, how do you like fucking Phase 2, man? Like, you know, fucking rip me off, you know, check my fucking ripped jeans, you know, like, fuck, check out the detail right there. Like, that's all me, man. Like, you know, like, and he's just like, looking at me like, what the fuck, you know, what the fuck's going on, you know? And so I went back, collected my $1, made the night.
We, as filmmakers, love The Fixer.
Okay.
And The Fixer is a
Yes.
Matt song.
It is, yeah.
So walk us through, if you can,
Okay.
the genesis of The Fixer.
You know, just so happened I was sitting around playing guitar for a couple hours. I have one part of it, which is this part, you know, that thing. And then this part came maybe like a half hour later. It's nice to be in a group that wants to hear the drummer's songs, you know? I brought it down to the fellas at the PJ Warehouse. We had just started writing for the Backspacer record. And then from there, Eddie took that home and came back the next day with lyrics.
Can you crank it?
Most of the times, for me, a song is kind of born out of an accident, out of tuning it a certain way or feeling a certain way. I certainly know the mechanics of where to go with a D and a G and all those kind of things, but if it can come out of nowhere, I guess the clay that you mold later into more of a song with vocals and everything like that, but the rough form of it, if it can come out of nowhere, which is kind of neat and spiritual, I guess. Generally, they kind of come that way for me. Faithful and Given to Fly were written on a snowy day in Seattle. I was in my condo in Seattle and I couldn't get my car out. So I couldn't get out of my place, so I went back, okay, I'll just, I'll hang out and play guitar for a little while. And Faithful kind of came out of there. And the thing about Faithful is, to put that together, it took a phone call. I called up Stone and I played the intro part to him, and then I played the heavier part to him. And it's like, how do you put these two things together? Let's see. So there was this part of Faithful. Couldn't figure out how to get to this part, but Stone had it over the phone. So it's like, how do I get from this one? Yeah, is how do I get to that part? How do I get to the heavy part and make those two connect kind of flawlessly?
And what does he say? He goes.
He hummed it in his head and
Which
over.
part did he hum?
Just the transition of the. Something like that. He hummed how to do the transition. Let me play it one more time. And then he went, then go down. He just said it was how to get from there to there. And I couldn't figure that out on my own, so I called him. That was only the first time I had kind of called him over the phone to ask him for songwriting help. Since I was at home and stuck in the snow, and I wanted to figure it out right then. And so he's the one that kind of put that together, which is Stone's very much the most integral in our band and putting things together and taking and editing and putting things apart. And he and Jeff are very good at that.
I was in Minneapolis about 4 months ago, and was wandering around a place called, I believe it was Walmart or something like that, and kind of in a depressed mood, and I looked at walked through the toy section for some reason, and I saw Mr. Potato Heads, and on the box it said, "They make you laugh," and I started laughing, and I was smiling, so I bought 7 of them. And I've been obsessed with them ever since, and I've taken a lot of Polaroids I have a potato head family, and that consists of 4, and I have a Mrs. Potato Head, and I have this 1973 potato head I'm looking at right now. He's mid-vintage. He's 70s. We get along, we go to movies, we hang out, you know. I'm getting a little bit too obsessed with it.
That's the bakery cafe right there. That's where I pulled espresso and bus tables. The footage that you saw of the Temple of the Dog playing live, I think some of that's from in there, opening up for Alice in Chains. Pearl Jam played their Even Flow video, I guess, was from that venue. I think that is the Mother Love Bone wall. It was. It's been changed now. That's the raison d'etre over that way. That's where Jeff worked. So Jeff pulled espresso in there. We'd get there at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning or something, some insane thing. He was always working. And been getting off maybe at 3 in the afternoon. Exhausted. I think our relationship's always been loaded. It's always had its dynamic tension. But now we really understand the tension a lot better, and we actually make it work for us. And we just don't take anything too personal anymore. You know, it's like if one of us feels strongly one way or one of us feels strongly the other, that's okay, and it'll all get worked out. You just learn to go with the back and forth and trust that. I mean, at this point, how can we not trust it, you know? Cyclops Cafe, right there, had lots and lots of meals together when we rehearsed for the making of 10.
How early on did you feel the sense of community?
Around the time of Deep Six, probably. I mean, that's when sort of, I think Chris Hanzik sort of identifying that he wanted to do a compilation. I mean, there was parties and stuff, and we'd see each other at shows and stuff, but I think once there was a decision made that yes, making a compilation record would be cool, and actually having all of our songs from a bunch of different bands on one record, I think that resonated with everybody, and I think it sort of set the stage in a way for us to kind of think about ourselves as being part of a bigger thing. Personally, I think that Jeff's a fantastic songwriter, and I'm excited about the material that he is bringing to the band, and I just want him to be as much of an artist as he can be in this band, and I want him to encourage me to do the same, you know. And in the end, hopefully the best of our individual art will sort of make an appearance, and it doesn't need to make a huge appearance, it just needs to make an appearance on our records. And then mix that in, you know, with the variety of how Ed hears it and how he writes and how Mike writes and how Matt writes, and all of a sudden you have a mix that you can't, that's a mix that's hard to rip off because it's not any one particular style that makes it do its thing. It's this, everyone has their own groove, everyone has their own sense of arrangement, their own sense of what moves them. And if you keep combining it and keep going through the process of making projects together, records or whatever it is, it's just a more complex mix. He's been playing here since before Mother Love Bone. Look at all the people.
Bye.